Want to build an AI agent pipeline using the best open source models, without paying OpenAI prices? In this tutorial, I'll show you how to connect DeepSeek's reasoning engine with Qwen Code's execution agent to create a fully automated code refactoring pipeline. Let's dive in. Here's something Western media won't tell you. The most powerful open source LLM, DeepSeek, and the most practical coding agent, Qwen Code, both come from China. You don't need a US cloud account. You don't need to speak Chinese. You just need an API key and a terminal. DeepSeek costs just 14 cents per million input tokens. GPT-4o costs $2.50, that's an 18x difference. For output tokens, it's 35x. And the best part? The pipeline we're building separates reasoning from execution, giving you the best of both worlds. Here's exactly what you'll walk away with. First, calling DeepSeek's Chat API. It's fully OpenAI-compatible, so you only change the base URL and API key. Second, installing Qwen Code through NPM and using it as a code execution engine. Third, building a Python script that connects the two into an automated pipeline. And fourth, handling real outputs, not pseudocode. Before we start, you'll need Python 3.10 or later, Node.js 20 or later for Qwen Code, and a DeepSeek API key from platform.deepseek.com. Sign-up comes with $5 of free credit. Basic terminal skills are all you need. Let's start with DeepSeek. Install the OpenAI Python package, pip install OpenAI. Then create a client pointing to api.deepseek.com/v1. The API is fully compatible, so you use the same chat.completions.create method you'd use with OpenAI. Use DeepSeek Chat for general reasoning, or DeepSeek Reasoner for chain-of-thought tasks. A quick tip, always verify available models at api.docs.deepseek.com, as model names can change. Next, Qwen Code. Unlike most coding tools, this one installs through NPM. Run npm install g at qwencode/Qwen Code. Verify with Qwen -- version. You can test it immediately by running Qwen followed by any prompt in quotes. There's also an experimental Python SDK called Qwen Code SDK, which will show as an alternative in the pipeline code. But the CLI method via subprocess is what we'll use in production. Here's the architecture. The user provides a natural language task along with a local repository path. The Python orchestrator sends this to DeepSeek's API, which outputs a detailed refactoring plan as structured JSON. The orchestrator reads that plan and delegates each step to Qwen Code. Qwen Code reads files, applies changes, and returns diffs. Finally, the orchestrator aggregates results into a final report. The key insight, each tool does what it does best. DeepSeek reasons and plans. Qwen Code reads and writes code. You can review the plan before any code changes happen. If step 3 fails, steps 1 and 2 are already done. Let's look at the code. First, the generate plan function. We send DeepSeek a structured prompt asking it to act as a code architect. The key here is response format equals JSON object. This guarantees we get parsable output without stripping markdown wrappers. The prompt asks for a plan with a summary and an array of steps. Each step has an action type, create file, modify file, delete file, or run command, plus the file path, description, and implementation details. DeepSeek returns pure JSON, which we parse and save as .agentplan.json in the repository. This gives you a chance to review the plan before any code is changed. Next, the execute step function. Based on the action type, we build a prompt for Qwen Code. For modify file, we tell it to read the current file first, then apply changes. For create file, we ask for a complete implementation. We run Qwen Code as a subprocess, Qwen followed by the prompt string. The timeout is set to 120 seconds per step, which is generous for most operations. Each result captures stout, stare, and the exit code. Then run pipeline via CLI loops through every step in the plan. If a step fails, we log the error but continue with remaining steps. Partial success is still valuable. This resilience is one of the pipeline's biggest advantages. As an alternative, the run pipeline via SDK function uses Qwen Code SDK if installed. It creates a Qwen Code session, prompts it for each step, and falls back to the CLI method automatically if the SDK isn't available. This gives you flexibility, though the CLI method is more production-ready. Here's how to run it. Export your DeepSeek API key, clone a test repository. I'm using the black code formatter. And run the pipeline script with the repo path and your task. In the output, you'll see phase 1 where DeepSeek generates a 3-step plan. Then phase 2 where Qwen Code executes each step sequentially. The final report shows 3 out of 3 steps completed in 42 seconds with a 100% success rate. The dry run flag was added to the CLI, the logic was implemented in main, and the README was updated. Let's talk about cost. DeepSeek charges 14 cents per million input tokens and 28 cents per million output tokens. Compare that to GPT-4o at $2.50 and $10. That's 18 to 35 times cheaper. For complex tasks, the pipeline is actually cheaper than using DeepSeek alone, because you only pay for reasoning, not for trial and error coding. Running this pipeline 100 times costs about $3. Qwen Code execution is free since it runs locally on your machine. Want to go further? Add a verification loop. After Qwen Code finishes, send the Git diff back to DeepSeek for review. The LLM can check correctness, style, and adherence to the plan. You can also swap models. Just change the base URL to Anthropic or OpenAI and it works with the same OpenAI-compatible client. And for security, you can run Qwen Code inside a Docker container, mounting only the repository as a volume. Here are common issues and fixes. If Qwen command not found, make sure you installed it globally with npm. If you get a 401 error, check your DeepSeek API key. JSON parsing errors are solved by using response format JSON object and setting a low temperature. And if Qwen modifies the wrong files, always pass absolute repository paths. To summarize, you now have a working, extensible pipeline. User task goes to DeepSeek for reasoning and planning, then to Qwen Code for execution, and you get a clean report at the end. This pattern, reasoner plus executor, is becoming the standard for AI-assisted software engineering. The specific tool combination of DeepSeek and Qwen Code gives you 10 to 20 times cost savings over US alternatives, without sacrificing capability. The code is yours. The pipeline is yours. Every step is observable, retryable, and auditable. That's the difference between using AI as a chatbot and using AI as an engineering multiplier. If you found this useful, star the repo, share it with your teammates, and go build something that matters. Thanks for watching.